So here we go. The adversarial mindset, a security playbook for Bitcoiners. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through this post, and I might stop somewhere along the way and talk about a couple things, and then we'll catch up after. But I thought this was probably the most well done post that I've ever seen on Nostr. And if you have any amount of sats right now, pay attention to this. So we're going to walk through this here. It says, imagine this. You've spent years stacking sats, watching your cold storage balance grow. One night, there's a knock at the door you weren't expecting. Or maybe it's more subtle, a strange text from your exchange, in quotes. A Wi-Fi network that looks similar but isn't, or a friend who asks just a little too much about your Bitcoin setup. These are not paranoid fantasies. These are the realities of holding an asset that is both borderless and irreversible. To thrive as a Bitcoiner, you need more than a hardware wallet. You need a way of thinking. That's what I've been talking about on this channel for a very long time. You go back to day one of the 365 days of Bitcoin. It is a mindset. And there are tools that you can use within your mind to play through different scenarios and improve your Bitcoin security by visualization. So it is a way of thinking, a mindset that assumes adversaries exist, studies how they operate, and prepares accordingly. Security in this world isn't a checklist, it's a discipline. So how do you think like an adversary? Attackers don't play fair. They look for the weakest link, whether it's an outdated app on your phone, a loose comment at a dinner party, or a cheap lock on your front door. So this is what I tell people all the time when I'm having like one-on-ones with people. I usually tell them to like think about, like actually play this out in your head of somebody showing up at your door, knowing that you have Bitcoin and saying, hand it over. And this isn't going to be just like your normal attacker who's looking for like a new flat screen TV. This is going to be a sophisticated attacker. And so when you say things like passphrase or like a decoy wallet, those sound great in theory, except probably who you're going to be up against is somebody who's much more sophisticated than that, which means an example of this. Number one is when somebody breaks in your house, where's the first place that they're going to go usually? Or where's the first place that they're going to ask you to take them to? Probably the safe. And so if you have your hardware device and your 12 words in the safe, your Bitcoin's gone. Right off the hop, gone. Never to be seen or heard from again. And you might say, Jor, well, I have a decoy wallet and I have a passphrase. Okay, but your decoy wallet probably might have 200,000 sats in it, and it hasn't had any ingoing or outgoing transactions in the last 2 years. Do you think that a sophisticated attacker is going to say, okay, 200,000 sats, I guess that's all Jor has. I'm going to leave now. No. They're going to say, where's the rest of it? So adopting an adversarial mindset means asking yourself, if I wanted to steal from me, how would I do it? What patterns do I reveal online or offline that somebody could exploit? Where do I lack layers of defense? By thinking strategically and tactically, you stop being reactive and start becoming more proactive. So securing your digital battlefield or building your Bitcoin citadel. Your wallet is your castle. Don't build it on sand. Hardware wallets keep keys offline, far from malware. Multi-signature setups force an attacker to compromise not one, but several wallets or strongholds. Backups here. This is, I like to see this because this is what we talk about all the time with Superbacked and our 21 sats solution. Backups encrypted and spread across secure locations protect you from fire, theft, or error. Backups encrypted and spread across geographically dispersed secure locations protect you from fire, theft, or error. Online hygiene, unique passwords, 2FAs, VPNs, and the refusal to click strange links keep phishing hooks from sinking in. Tactically, this means staying disciplined in daily habits. Strategically, it means reducing single points of failure so your castle can withstand a siege. Every click, every login, every update is a chance to think, how would an attacker exploit this? So guarding the home front. Bitcoin doesn't just live online. It intersects with your life. That's where many adversaries will probe. Store seed phrases in fireproof safes or across multiple secure locations. I would say secure multiple secure locations instead of a fireproof safe. Although this is good, it's not great. And when you're talking about the world's greatest asset, you want it to be great, not just good. Reinforce your doors, your locks, your alarms. The stronger your home, the less tempting you become as a target. Keep your mouth shut, especially while traveling. The fewer who know, the fewer who can exploit. Prepare escape and emergency protocols. A family that knows what to do under stress is far harder to exploit. So I think that's the main thing that a lot of people miss is like when you're thinking through the stuff, this isn't going to be like a la-di-da average Wednesday. You go to your safe, you go to your hiding place for your private key, and you can do it. And you know where it is, and it's easy. There's no stress. But in a situation like this, you're going to be under an immense amount of stress. So not only do you have to have this stuff properly protected and hidden, but you're also going to have to know exactly where it is like the back of your hand. Because in a stressful situation, maybe you have to leave your house for a fire, whatever that may be. You have to think through all these different things in your head, and you have to set up safeguards based on each one of them. So something very simple for this is like, talk to your family. If the power goes out or something happens, where are you going to meet? If you don't have the ability to communicate with your cell phone, where are you all going to meet? Are you going to be driving in circles looking for each other? Because then what? You're going to run out of gas, and then you're going to be stranded on the side of the road, and you're going to have your head bitten off by a zombie, or you're going to be attacked by this thing. So think like an adversary. They don't want a long fight. They want easy prey. Don't be that. Don't be the lowest hanging fruit. So that's one part of it. But you also have to train your mind and body. A secure plan isn't what you own. It's how you move through the world. Situational awareness. Heads up, phone down. Notice who notices you. Martial arts. Krav Maga for, I don't know if that's pronounced properly, for real world defense. Jiu-jitsu for control. Boxing for striking. Think of them as physical patches for human vulnerabilities. De-escalation first. The best fight is the one avoided, but if conflict comes, you've trained to respond. And stress testing. Practice under pressure so adrenaline doesn't control you when it matters most. Tactics are useless without mental preparation or visualization. The adversarial mindset means knowing when to fight, when to flee, and when to blend in. So the tools of defense, weapons and alternatives. Tools don't replace mindset, but they extend it. Know the law. Never train with tools you cannot legally use. Firearms demand safety, discipline, and constant practice. Non-lethal options like pepper spray, tasers, or even tactical flashlights can be decisive without deadly outcomes. Everyday carry tools remind you that preparedness doesn't have to be loud. It just has to work. So that's a great option, honestly. You can get one of these on Amazon. So if you live in a country where you have pretty strict GUN laws, at least have something like this at a bare minimum. And you can buy them on Amazon. Every tool is a force multiplier. Without training, though, it's dead weight. The discipline of continuous readiness. An adversarial mindset isn't about paranoia. It's about preparation. Conduct regular audits of your digital and physical defenses. Train with trusted partners because threats rarely happen on your schedule. And stay current with emergent attack patterns in both tech and crime. Above all, resist complacency. The greatest vulnerability of all is believing you're too safe to be a target. Bingo. So having something like this, I would say training with trusted partners. You're probably not going to like have people in your community that you can practice this stuff with. So what I would say to replace this is like join a community, join Living in the Future, join Maple Bitcoin School, become a visionary when it's available, because you're going to be the first to know when there's an active threat going on, whether it's like a phishing scam, whether it's an attack on a specific wallet, whatever it may be. You're going to be the first to know, and you're not going to have to scroll through pages of X and Reddit to find that information. You're going to have somebody there, a trusted partner within the community who can keep you up to date with this kind of stuff. So it's important. I mean, it's obviously nice to have other people you can talk to, because being a Bitcoiner in 2025 is a pretty lonely place. But it also gives you communities like this. You get a bunch of content that helps you walk through this and think through this kind of stuff. But also just like having a sense of community, having people who have your back, essentially, is priceless. Above all, resist complacency. We went through that already. Quiet strength. Here's the paradox. The more capable you are, the less you need to show it. True security isn't about bragging on Twitter about your cold storage or martial arts training. It's about the quiet confidence that you've thought strategically, trained tactically, and prepared realistically. Bitcoin gives you freedom, and security ensures you keep it. Closing reflection. Bitcoin gives us freedom, but freedom without security is fragile. Remember that one. Bitcoin gives us freedom, but freedom without security is fragile. To protect yourself, your property, and your digital wealth, you must think like an adversary, always probing for the weak points, always refining your defenses. Strategic thinking sets the vision. Tactical thinking makes it real. Together, they transform security from a list of tasks into a way of life. Because in the end, sovereignty isn't just holding your own keys, it's being ready for whatever comes when someone tries to take them. That only got 71 sats. We need to boost that. We need to boost that. But in the meantime, I mean, this is kind of what made me come to the realization that something like super backed or having your private key encrypted and geographically dispersed and not having any Bitcoin at your house, like going through this kind of thinking, that's what led me there. Because yes, I had a cold card. Yes, I had a multi-sig, but I was still worried about what could go wrong with that. I was thinking about all the different attack vectors and vulnerabilities that I had in my setup. And I didn't really have a solution to it until I discovered the encryption. Because when you think about it, all this information floating around through your phone, through email, through chats, as AI and technology improves, it's going to become easier and easier to intercept that. And so you want any sort of information that's important to you to be encrypted. Start thinking in that mindset. Any information that's important to you, you want it to be encrypted. And you don't have to learn this today. You don't have to take a bunch of steps this week, but just have that sort of mindset that any information that I have that's important to me, I want it to be encrypted, and start taking slow steps towards that. But that's exactly what led me to Superbacked and Craig and 21 Sats, is that was an answer to the biggest problem that I had, was storing things in plain text. And so that also led me to geographically dispersing the keys. That led me to not keeping any Bitcoin at my house. And that made me want to, instead of signing up for a service like Unchained or Casa or somebody who has all your information, which is another vulnerability, because they have the information, they have a key, they know how much Bitcoin you have, and that's a vulnerability. As good and easy as it is, it's expensive, it's KYC, and it's potential for your Bitcoin to be taken from you if you have an unfriendly government. So that's the kind of stuff that you need to be thinking about. And I had a little checklist here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it easily or not, but I had a little list of things you should be thinking about in this realm. Where is this? Okay, we got Spark. No, it's not there. I don't know where it is. I have too many freaking spreadsheets now. I thought this was the play to put them all in one, but well, this is kind of a good next thing to show. And let me bring this up. You might be thinking like, well, Joe, I only got 1 million sats. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? First of all, it's not only 1 million sats. But yeah, you're right. You don't need to be thinking too far ahead if you got 1 million sats right now. So this is kind of my threshold that I have. Like if you got 5 million sats or less, instead of buying a hardware device, instead of spending a bunch of money on having somebody help you or setting up, a multi-sig or encryption, just keep stacking. Take whatever money you have, bump this up. Use an Aqua wallet. Make sure you protect your private keys properly from your Aqua wallet, or just keep it on an exchange like River. And if you got 5 to 10 million sats, I would suggest getting a hardware device. I recommend the Cold Card Q. It has the cold card level security, but it's a lot easier to use than the MK4. So I'm going to share this. This is for the US folks in the chat here. I'm going to share my link to River, because if you are somebody who has like 5 million sats or less, like it's not the worst idea to actually just leave it on an exchange. I know that's kind of backwards from what we're used to hearing, but I do think that River is going to protect your Bitcoin better than you can at that stage. Or, if you're capable of it, if you want to have an Aqua wallet, something like that, totally fine. Or Cove. There's a lot of really good wallets that are available on the on your phone. But my point there is that you shouldn't be wasting a bunch of money on security at that stage. You should just buy sats. The next one here is, so I put cold card Q ×2 there, because if you're ordering one cold card, I would just get 2, because you set up the first one as normal, and then you use the second cold card to actually verify the fact that yes, I wrote down the words properly. Yes, I can read them. And yes, it restored properly. In case anything happens to your original cold card, you know for a fact that you can actually restore that wallet properly into a new device. So I would get 2. It's going to cost you a little bit more money. But the nice thing too is that you can use both those wallets when you move up to a multi-sig. You already have 2 devices there. If you got 10 to 50 million sats, I would suggest something like a cold card Q with a passphrase plus a node plus encryption. It's a lot. I know everybody gets pretty caught up in like the fiat price, the fiat value that they tell you that your Bitcoin's worth. It's worth much, 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 much more than you think. So protect it accordingly. Single sig, cold card Q with a passphrase, plus run your own node, plus encrypt your 24 words. 50 million sats. You should today start looking at a multi-sig, 2 of 3, 3 of 5, and encrypt your backups. That's kind of my threshold for things. So something to think about. Something to think about. Chat's gone quiet. Hopefully everybody's just paying attention there. Hopefully my microphone was on for that. Looks like it was. Cypher says, as far as the government is concerned, I'm a broke-ass bum treading water. My bank accounts hold minimal amounts of cash. Yes. Cypher Sats is doing it right. All right. We had a couple more zaps come in from Noster, or is that? Kachok or ISO also sent 18 sats and said BitChat could help. Yes. Good point. Walkie-talkies, mesh networks, BitChat. Because BitChat doesn't use a Wi-Fi or mobile network. You can use it off of Bluetooth, I believe. Tandri says, zap 21 sats and said sat by sat. Shout out to Noster. We got 25 people over there. Love that. And we got 40 people in Rumble. Damn. 23 likes. Or I should say Rumble. I'm an adversarial professional, an all-star, if you will. ISO says, I can't think of how geographically dispersed keys are safe because it would require you to have trusted individuals, which puts them in harm's way should someone really want your sats. I mean, that's a good point. That's a great point. And what I would say to that is if you use something like Superbacked, 21 sats, shout out 21 sats. If you use something like that, it's just QR codes. So it's laminated QR codes. Your QR codes match with the password that you create. That's what unlocks your secret information, your encrypted information. And so when you have a laminated QR code, you should probably trust the person that you're leaving it with, probably. But at the same time, you don't really have to, because they can't do anything with that information. Although, it depends. Like you could literally go to your parents' house and you could stick a QR code in the back of a photo frame. And hopefully your parents aren't going to rug you or come after you, but you never know. So you could tell them, or you might not. You could leave it in a safety security box, but it's just a QR code. It's encrypted QR code. So even if a bank employee went rogue and they found your QR code, they can't do anything with that. And the nice thing is that if you have these geographically dispersed with people that you trust and you have to leave the country, the nice thing is that you could actually hop on a plane without anything and you could land and say, hey, I'm in this country, please email or please mail my QR code to this address. And you collect your QR codes, you get 2 or 3 of them, you scan it, you put in your password, and then all of a sudden you have your 24 words unlocked. It's the best solution. I have not found a better solution for any serious Bitcoiners out there. If you want to protect your Bitcoin, super backed 21 sats security and inheritance plan. So it's the security component of it, but plus you have a nice, well-detailed, well-organized document that you can leave with somebody in case something unexpected happens to you. So if you do want more information, we've had a ton of people signing up for this service, and it's very, very, very inexpensive at this point. It's probably going to go up in fiat terms anyways. But if you want more information, you want to set up a call with me and just, see if it makes sense for you, you can email 88sats@proton.me and just put 21 sats in the subject line or super backed. And I'll set up a call with you, and then we can set up a call with Craig if you want to kind of take the next step there and take your shit seriously. Because in a situation like that, if somebody breaks into your house, if you're using the 21 sats protocol, they can't do anything. They'd have to fly you around or drive you around to collect your QR codes. Good luck. Nobody's going to do that. That was the point of that thing, is you want to think like them, and they just want the easy hanging fruit. They want to be able to break in your house, break in your safe, get your 24 words and leave. So having something like that is going to make it not only difficult for you to access, but somebody else very difficult to access. And that's kind of the point of it, right? Like an ideal setup is going to be 90% of your Bitcoin geographically dispersed, encrypted. Nobody else holds a key to it. But then you keep about 10% at your house. You could keep that on an Aqua wallet. You could have like a secondary cold card that you keep it on. So if you did need to access a portion of your Bitcoin, you have it on hand. And again, somebody breaks in your house, they take your cold card, you lose 10% of your stack. It sucks, but you still have 90% of it that nobody can touch. So that's the key selling point to the super back, the 21 sats, is no Bitcoin at your house. You don't have to have a trace of Bitcoin. You could have 100% locked up. If you have no plans on spending your Bitcoin, you could have 100% of it locked up. I don't suggest that usually, but you could have zero trace of Bitcoin at your house. It's non-KYC. We don't need to know your last name. We don't need to know your phone number. We don't need to know your mailing address. We don't need to know any of that stuff. Nobody needs to know that. We don't know KYC. We don't hold a key to it. It's much more affordable than any other option available out there. And you have 2 guys on your team, Craig and myself, and we're probably going to be growing here soon, that can support you. And I think having something like that, and we're also going to have a school community for Bitcoin Citadel, just specifically focused on Bitcoin security stuff. And so you can stay up to date with that too. So everybody who has signed up as a 21 sats customer is going to get free access to our school community to stay very up to date and have a lot of good information about security. So it's a good way to put it. It's powerful. That's a really good way to put it. Thank you. I was looking for a word there. It's powerful.